Welcome to the Wimlex Show, episode number 39, presented by debt agency Bright Payments and Spryker. Today our guest is Patrik Illerstig. He is responsible for the global online business at Volvo Car, and he also is responsible for Care by Volvo, a very interesting concept on how to get a car for end consumers. So as you might know, I'm very into cars. I'm following a lot of car blogs, car YouTube channels, especially the My Deals website, where you find a lot of good deals on new cars and leasing contracts. And the Care by Volvo principle is a very interesting addition to the ways how to get a car, and to get a car in a kind of Netflix style. And this is super innovative to the industries. Now other companies are copying this principle. It's very different from leasing. That's what I've learned in the podcast. And we also talk about the dilemma between car retailers and car manufacturers. And from Patrick's point of view, there is no real dilemma. There's aligned interest when it comes to customer satisfaction. But listen yourself. It's a very entertaining show. It was planned and executed, of course, by my very, very elegant and eloquent co-host, Lena Hackeler. And she starts with the introduction.
Welcome, everybody, to a new episode of the Wimlex Show. Today, again, we're three on the show. We have a special guest from Sweden, and that is Patrik Illerstig, who is running Volvo's global online business. Welcome, Patrik. Thank you, Lena. It's really nice to have you here on the show. We've been trying to find a time for quite some time to schedule a date for the podcast. And Alex and I have been quite excited about this one because, of course, Volvo is such a big global brand and also very much a Swedish trademark, almost, I would say. But the online business is perhaps a little bit less known. So tell us a little bit more, perhaps, about what it is exactly that you do at Volvo and, of course, about yourself.
Absolutely. Oh, sorry. So Volvo set out on a journey 2-3 years ago to move towards becoming more of a mobility provider, whatever that means. And when we talk a bit about what Volvo should be, we say that the car used to be a symbol for freedom, but lately it's become maybe more a symbol of many things that are not so good in the world. So we want to recapture a bit that sense of freedom to move. So that's our company purpose. And then we say that we should provide freedom to move in a way that is safe, personal, and sustainable. And what that means is, of course, that we believe that we cannot just build the same type of cars and distribute them in the same way and giving the customer the same customer experience as they've always had. And why we believe in that is, of course, the outside world is changing so much. Everything from electrification to autonomous drive to all the movements and everything around sustainability. So we need to sorry, I need to drink something. So we need to reinvent ourselves a bit. We're a 91-year-old company, but if we want to be 180, we probably need to continue to build great products, but find new ways to give them to customers. And one obvious thing is, of course, how customers have started to behave online, where we know that 90% plus of all buying journeys, they actually start online. We know, of course, that customers are starting to pick up on alternatives to actually own a car. Maybe it was a status symbol 10 years ago. Nowadays, maybe it's not for certain people. So how can we make our products come into the hands of more people in new ways that fit them better, and that will make us successful at the end?
So Care by Volvo is a special ownership model because customers don't actually own their car anymore. They subscribe to it, as I understand, is the concept. So how does that differ from, for example, a classic leasing?
Absolutely. And I think the whole concept of ownership is a bit interesting. I mean, when private lease came some years ago, I think there was a lot of fuss around that it would destroy the car industry, and that people actually definitely want to own their cars. And if you look at what's happening with the share of customers who choose to lease instead of buy, that's of course a very strong trend. But we didn't, before I started at Volvo 2.5 years ago, I never had a clue about what is a full service lease, what's a long-term rental, what's a private lease. I was quite uneducated on that. So where we started instead was that how can we give customers a way to get into one of our cars in the easiest way? And how can we then give them the best experience of actually having a car? We don't talk about owning a car or leasing a car or subscribing to a car, but having a car. So having a mental mindset that this is my car, but not necessarily that I own it. So what we have done is that we have created a simplified online journey where you are not forced to select between 5,000 different variants. You are not forced to go to an offline location unless you want to. You can actually do it from your sofa in a very quick way. I think you can manage by 5-6 clicks or something. Then you can have a subscription. Then we offer then curated cars, and then we have basically looked at, okay, if we want to sell this online and through our retailers, how can we take away the hurdles? It is, paying 800,000 for something cash at home might be a bit of a hurdle. But here with subscription, then we offer you a 30-day trial. So if you don't like the car, you can hand it back. We offer a quick delivery. We also then offer you the chance to keep the subscription for as long as you want, always with the 3-month notice period. So that is one big difference, the flexibility. Then the other difference is that we include everything apart from electricity or fuel. So we have, your taxes covered, we have your winter tires covered, we have your winter tire hotel covered, we have your maintenance covered, we have your insurance covered, etc., etc. So what you see is sort of what you will pay at the end of the day. So one part is the flexibility. The other one then is the convenience of having everything covered. So it's very predictable for you, and then, very convenient.
May I jump in here? So I totally get this model. Maybe we have to explain the 800,000 kronas mark, because most listeners probably will be in the euro area. I don't know what the exchange rate is, but
it's easy, 10.
10. Okay, so 80,000. So it's 80,000, 70 to 80,000 euros for a car you would sell. And this car, just to give an example, let's take an 80,000 euro Volvo X90, which is probably the most desired car from most people because it's an SUV. It's looking quite nice. It has a super nice interior. In this Care by Volvo offer, how much would this car in euro numbers would cost the customer? So I can register on your site. I can configure my car, as I understand it. Mm-hmm. I have to use it at least 6 months or longer. So how does it work exactly? Just to have like a specific example here.
Oh, absolutely. I think what you do is you go to our site, and these days now we offer both the chance for you to configure your car, but also select one that we already have in stock for a quick delivery. And otherwise you probably need to wait some time until the car is built. So that's a big advantage, that we can actually offer an attractive range of cars with quick delivery, or the opportunity to tailor it. Mm-hmm. And then I think one of our most popular cars is the XC40. Which is a smaller SUV, but it's a fantastic and beautiful car. And now very soon the fully electrical XC40 will hit the streets as well. And that XC40 then starts from 539 euro per month. And the only commitment you make in the beginning is that, or you make no commitment actually in the beginning. If you want to hand it back in the first month, you can do so without an extra charge. And then if you decide to keep it, you keep it sort of 3 months at a time rolling, just like you have a subscription of a telephone or electricity or whatever it is. So
it's a 3 months canceling period.
Exactly, 3 month notice period.
Okay.
Which is
minimum duration.
No minimum duration, and we have decided to. We are a company sort of trying to be centered around people and what happens in people's lives. So if you lease, you usually see a very low price, maybe 200 euro. But what would happen then is you probably need to make a down payment. You probably have a car that is very, very poorly equipped. You're probably locking yourself in for a very long time. You need to add insurance, you need to add taxes, you need to add winter tires, etc., etc. So at the end of the day, those 200 might end up at 400 and a car that is maybe not exactly what you wanted. So we have a big challenge that, the situation is so that the car industry has taught people that if you lease, you need to keep it for 36 to 48 months. And I don't think that is because people necessarily want to change car every 36 or 48 months, but the car industry has decided that's how we should do. And the other thing is, of course, that people don't really understand, I don't understand or want to understand how much it costs to actually have a car because of all the stuff that comes on top. Total cost of ownership is the concept that we talk about.
And another myth in the car industry is usually, and that comes especially from the retailing organizations, is that people, before they buy a car or even before they lease a car, they really want to sit in the car and make a test drive. And now, as the owner of the global online business, how do you look at that? So, how many of the people getting a car from a Care by Volvo program have ever used the Volvo before or even test drived the model they've chosen online?
That's of course a very difficult question to answer. I mean, when you work at the company, whatever it is, usually you center the world quite a lot around you, and you think that you can understand how every customer behaves. But of course you can't. So we have asked customers, did you actively go to a store in your purchasing journey? And then the vast majority have not done that. But then, of course, maybe their neighbor has a Volvo, maybe they were at the Volvo dealership a year ago, maybe, who knows. But we definitely see that customers dare to do things online without touching, feeling. But that is, of course, also tied to the fact that we have made a product that is a lower commitment. But it's very important for us. I mean, if we compare Care by Volvo in Germany to a startup like Cluno, as an example, yes. One of the few really strong USPs we have is that we have a huge network of retailers. And if we cannot leverage them in a good way and involve them in a good way, we have lost that opportunity completely. Mm-hmm. So for us, there is no self-purpose in sort of minimizing the amount of people going to a dealership. Not at all. We just want to make it easy for the customer when they are online to finalize the transaction.
Yeah, if I go today to a dealership, what I understand from the leasing market, and actually I'm new to leasing, so I have like a leasing car from my company, but I never had a car leased as a private person. So we are just buying old used cars, also Volvos. Good, and, good enough like for the family, and we can drive around for another like 5 to 10 years. So, but if I understood, it's like the owner of the leasing contract or the like the main giver of the leasing contract is the retailing store. Is that correct, or is usually the owner of the contract is this the car manufacturer?
No, usually you have someone who produces the car, you have someone who finances the car, and you have someone who sells the car or the lease product to a customer. So usually you could have a Santander or a automotive captive finance company that actually owns the car and has the legal relationship or the contractual relationship with the customer. So we would sell the car to a retailer. who would then get the customer in and present different options of buying a car cash, taking a loan, or then taking a lease, where a finance company or leasing company would be sort of the contractual partner. So that's how it usually would work.
Okay, and if let's play it through, because the retailing industry is like a big part still of the industry, and there's a big discussions going on in the German market, of course, because of the movements of Volkswagen. So there's you can read every second week something in the newspaper saying, they are doing this, we don't want that, let's go with this way. If I go to a retailing store asking for a car, usually the biggest deal or the biggest business these retailing stores are still having is selling a car. Is that correct? Or would they actively promote me a Care by Volvo deal?
I mean, I think if I would be a retailer, my main objective would be to not just sell cars, but actually take care of the cars. So perform maintenance, provide spare parts, and then, of course, making sure that whenever the customer buys a car the next time or leases a car or subscribes, that they actually talk to me as a retailer. And of course, it's quite hard to get customers if you don't sell them a car. But that's been an integral part of the Care by Volvo product all along, that this is not about making sure that customers never ever visit the retailer. First of all, we want to use them as a sales channel. But then secondly, Volvo we don't have our own workshops. So again, the retail partner is an absolutely crucial part of that. But you're right, of course, a retailer would want to sell something or make money, both on the transaction and then getting a customer relationship with business all along. And there we have, of course, many good examples of, for the right type of customer, a retailer definitely sells Care by Volvo. Absolutely.
And if I have a Care by Volvo car at home, if I have a Care by Volvo subscription, would I be taking my car to the Volvo dealership then, for example, to change my winter tires and to get any maintenance done?
Yeah, exactly. What we are, I think it's easy to polarize a bit between us and retailers. And honestly, we compete together against the rest of the world, not between us. So we would like the Volvo On Call app that you use. It started really as a remote control to the car, where we want to build in features now, such as, hey, it's time to change winter tires, click here and book an appointment with your retailer. But it's not Volvo changing the tires, that's the retailer. Then I think it's Volvo's job to make sure that experience, fits our brand and that customers get treated in a way we want, etc. But there's no real conflict in that. So no, you would definitely go to a Volvo retailer, and that's one of the benefits. If the car instead goes through a big lease company, the lease company might decide that no, we don't want to do service at Volvo retailers. We have a contract with Dekra or someone, and that's where you're going to go. And then we lose out, the retailer loses out, and we hope that the sort of Volvo branded experience would be better than going to a white label supplier.
Can you give us a short overview about the success or the learning curve of Care by Volvo? Because you started the program, so looking back, so is it a big success? Is there more people asking for a Care by Volvo deal than you expected, or less people, or how would you say that?
I would say that it's been a tremendous sort of learning journey for us at Volvo. But if we look where we are now in Germany, I'm always a bit or quite a lot self-critical. But I would say that we're getting close to what we would feel very, very, very proud about and good about. I think it's clear that there is a big demand from customers. And the beauty is that over 90% of the customers we bring in with Care by Volvo are actually new to the Volvo brand. So that's incremental business for us, and it's incremental business for our retailers. So I think it's been a very long and bumpy and painful road. But if we look at where we are now, especially now, sort of in the midst of Corona or in the end of the first phase of Corona, we see a very strong and increased demand for exactly this type of service. You can do it online, and maybe you don't know where you're going to be in a year. What's the life going to be like? And then this is a perfect solution for you. So I think it's going very well, actually, without sharing any numbers, unfortunately.
And Volvo is, of course, very much a global brand, but what markets is Care by Volvo currently available in?
We have it in Germany, we have it in Holland, we have it in Norway. Within short, we're going to launch it in the UK. And then we have a product also in the US.
So it's been internationalizing quite a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's a bit tricky for a car company, because usually we build a car and then we make, fantastic commercials that we spread across the globe. It takes a lot of time to build a car, but once the car is done, it's done. And then you can just ship it to different places, very simplified. But this is really building a business and building a product that is quite new to us as a company. And then it takes time to scale.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the customers already a little bit, that many of them are new to the brand. Where do the customers actually come from? How do you acquire customers to your online channels?
We work almost exclusively with online marketing, which of course is nothing special in itself maybe. But again, I think many car manufacturers work, if you turn on your TV or if you watch play of some kind, where there is a commercial, you see a lot of cars, of course. So car companies, of course, have worked a lot with branding. And then a lot of the tactical marketing maybe has been done more by the retailer. So, in the Handelsblatt or whatever, you have a page with here are stock cars available right now. And there we now take part of that activity as well. And what we have seen work well is, of course, something like this 30-day trial. That's something that feels unique and that people can trigger on and click on. We've also seen that quite a few native ads has worked well, where we get the chance to explain a bit about this concept, because it is a bit new and okay, it looks expensive, but hey, it's not actually. This is why. So those are things that have been working well for us.
Mm-hmm. So we have what we see at other manufacturers, especially Tesla is coming around with. They are promoting a kind of a concept where you can offer your Tesla into kind of a shared pool, saying, okay, it's not just only you are driving the car, you can lease it internally to your friends, or like even to an open pool, which is most probably doable because you can open the car via smartphone. And for the group of customers you're working with, this seems to be also a concept that might be feasible, because they are not like, they don't feel as a car owner, they are car users, and say, okay, if I can save some money while parking my car in the city, so I can give it to the carpool for the next 5 hours. Is it something you've been looking into, or something you have an opinion about?
I think the customers that we want to target are probably people who want to have the sense of ownership, but maybe not all of the commitments that come with it. So for our business model, it's quite important that people don't change the car as often as they, change pants. So we want people to have a car for a long time until their needs radically change. And for the people who like you said, might have a very temporary mobility need, we think that there are a multitude of good companies or fantastic companies working on that. So I think our target is still around the people, or it is around the people that still want to have a car, but they don't want to commit to it. So we had ideas around that some time ago, and when we did customer research in our focus groups, so to speak, that was not something that they were really that interested in. And it's, to be honest, it's a logistical nightmare as well to handle those types of things. So not for Care by Volvo, but then Volvo has has a startup called M in Stockholm, which is built around exactly that you can get, temporary access to a Volvo car. But yeah, right now it's not for us.
Okay, and the other way around. So, as you have like a direct access to the customer of a Care by Volvo contract, right? Mm-hmm. So you could also offer kind of a carpooling services at airports, saying, okay, instead of like renting your car at Sixt, you can have a Care by Volvo car at your holiday destination at Palma, for example. So that's why I'm usually getting a car. Is it something there must be something much more valuable to working with a customer than just handing them out a car. You have like a close relation. They are calling you when it comes to service. So there might be additional services that could add value to the customer. You must have thought about already. So is there something where you say, okay, that's where you can really have a more closer connection to the customer, or is it really car based and that's it?
Right now, I think there is plenty to do in just offering a fantastic experience of having a car and getting a car, because it is quite painful. I've seen some studies from the US where people would rather get divorced or go to the taxi agency than to get a car because it's tedious. So our focus is definitely to fix what you would call the basics, and then it's always a bit tricky, when you should do a new service. Do you do it because you think it's fun, or do you do it because there's a true consumer need? But the big area where we see opportunity for the future is, of course, everything related to software around the car. The border between your car or your app for the car or your mobile phone in general, that will, of course, start to dilute the borders there. It will all merge together much more and be much more seamless. So we care a lot about doing things that help people in their everyday life, basically. And that's where we sort of start or try to focus a lot. And then to scale that to more markets. And I think the tricky thing in this industry is that it's, you have e-commerce, but it's not a shoe that weighs 800 grams. It's a car weighing a couple of tons, costing 100,000 euro or 50,000 euro. So it's a lot of money, and you need to move that car around. So the logistics in this type of e-commerce is just, insane. And whenever the shoes, you need to change shoelaces, it's quite of a big deal to actually do that. So it is a tricky industry to do things. We aim to find things where we can do things that are fully software based or digital so that it can scale. I mean, having access to a car in Palma, yeah, if we would have 1,000 customers going to Palma every day, good. But if we have 5 going there once and then to Moscow in 2 of them, etc., it all of a sudden becomes a logistical nightmare. So it is an interesting industry from that angle, all of the logistics and how hard it is to scale when there is so much physical components tied to the business still.
But speaking of e-commerce, is it possible today for a customer to order a car online the classic way, i.e. a complete ownership on Volvo.com?
No, not now. But that's part then of my new job, which is not only around Care by Volvo, but rather, broadening it to online business in general. And we have such solutions in some countries, the UK as an example, but it is a bit tricky. And one tricky thing is, of course, that normally in the car industry, we sell a car to a retailer who would then set the final price. So when we put the car up on our website, we have a recommended price. And since each dealer would set their own price, it's a bit hard for us. We don't want to create a price runner where our retailers on volvocars.com could compete for setting the best price. if you go on Nike, you don't see, this is the price you get from Stadium, this is what you get from Foot Locker, this is what you get from Intersport, etc. So part of why this is so tricky as well is it's not just online, offline. It's also, is it a wholesale model or is it a direct model?
But maybe let's stick a second to this topic, because like from a customer perspective, so I'm 100% on your side when it comes to like the inside out perspective. So that is like part of the wholesale model. It was always part of the industry, and car manufacturers never wanted to compete with the retailers because of the very distinctive roles. But from a customer perspective, so let's say I'm not into the Care by Volvo principle. I like to own my car. I like to configure a car, and I definitely know what I want. And part of this knowledge includes I don't want to interfere with the person at the car retailer, because they have this kind of salesman's attitude, from at least from my experience. So, but wouldn't it then be customer optimized to offer them a car without the interference of a car retailer? And then, of course, let's attribute part of the selling price to the local car retailer where the customer sits. Fine. Okay. So, you get rid of the retailing dilemma, the wholesale dilemma, but customer wise, it totally makes sense to sell directly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No. That absolutely. I mean, we should be where the customer is, and the customer should be able to do what they want to do wherever they want to do it. And then I think we started with the subscription because it was a product that was fit for online due to lower commitments, etc. So it's a bit easier to do it online. But of course, whatever the customer wants to do, we should aim to do it. And we are working on more sort of online products for customers to choose. So without a doubt. And I also think that many people would maybe go to a retailer, look and feel, touch it a bit, maybe ask some questions, and then they go home. And then why should we give them time to start to get second thoughts? Then we should be there, of course, online. Yeah, definitely.
Can you give us a little bit more insight? So we will stick a little bit to the online topic, but maybe just one excursus to the cars again. So you've said the XC40 will fully electrified hit the streets anytime soon. Is this also part of the customer demand? So do they want to have like fully electrified cars? Do you see already like online? And you said you're in the online marketing game already, that people are searching for electrified cars more than ICE cars, especially when it comes to Volvo?
It's a bit different between market to market. But if you look in Norway, where we are, for example, all of our cars in Care by Volvo are electric, either fully or hybrids. So we as a company have decided that electric is sort of the future, and that's where we need to go. And the consumer demand, of course, is picking up. And I think the hybrids is a perfect way to get to know how it feels to drive without the noise of a combustion engine. I have one hybrid, and then I have a diesel, and I don't want to use that diesel because just the sound and the feeling is horrible compared to just gliding along smoothly. So consumer demand for electric cars at sort of good prices is picking up a lot. Then you need to figure out charging. How quite a lot of people are a bit not skeptical, but I guess wondering, how does it work? What happens? How long can the car go? Where can I charge? And that's something where we need to help out. And that's also something I think is worth mentioning when we talk about online. We don't aim to take away the human touch of it. So for example, one of our best tools to actually sell is to talk to people on the phone. The average discussion with the customer there could be 20-30 minutes. And a lot of that is around, getting comfort that you pick the right thing. How does it work, et cetera, et cetera. So online doesn't mean, let's not be human. We still need to be there.
But But staying on the sort of electric car trend just for a moment, you mentioned Norway as an example, and Norway was, of course, super early out when it came to electric cars. I remember when I was living there 10 years ago, they already had free parking spaces for electric cars. It was government subsidized. You were able to use the bus lanes and sort of the rush hour and these type of things. Infrastructurally, would you say that your target markets are on par for you to be able to sell more electric cars? Taking, for example, Germany, which I know is a good market for Care by Volvo.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if you look at the EU overall with legislation on average CO2 emissions of your fleet, so to speak, I think it's quite clear where that is pointing. And just the other night, the German government released the economy recovery program with the change of car taxation, then with strong focus on CO2 from January 1st, 2021. I think they doubled the existing electrification bonuses for petrol hybrids and battery electric cars. So that the trend is pointing in that direction in Europe overall, there's no question about it. Then it's a matter of how fast it goes and how fast will we be at producing cars, etc. But yeah, the trend in all of Europe definitely supports that ambition.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is the most exciting development for your online business in the next 12 months? So I think you are like pretty advanced compared to other manufacturers when it comes to the understanding of how important the online journey is. As a customer, I would expect I can buy a car, configure it, buy it, and that's it. Don't send me to a retailer. I don't even want to see the retailer for service purposes. I want just to send out a WhatsApp or whatever, and then somebody comes and picks my car up. And for most services, that's not even necessary, like changing tires or so. That can be done like in front of my window. Mm-hmm. So what is from your perspective the next big things coming up for your business, especially for the online business?
Mm-hmm. No, but I would say it's taking Care by Volvo to new markets. It is definitely providing new ways to transact for the customer online. I think that we have tons to gain from involving or engaging even more with our retailers, because I think we have so much untapped potential. And then I think the cool thing is going to be when we now start to see customers who have been with us for 2 years, maybe, did we actually provide them with a good service so that they stay with us? I think the car industry has been very focused on, or let's say OEMs, around pushing metal. So trying to take more of a classic e-commerce customer lifetime value approach, where, of course, one thing is what does it cost to get the customer first time and getting them to pay the first time, but how well do we work with retention?
And so far,
so it would be around that, both growing. Sorry.
Is it so far too early to say because you haven't been live for long enough to see what the retention would be?
Yeah, no, I think it's a bit too early. And of course, we see that some customers use the product, they use the flexibility, they use the commitment-free thing to get out. And that's part of the product, but we do see that the customers stay for quite a long time. I think we hope that they will stay 2 years on average, and I guess in a year or so we will see whether that was true or not, and how many that actually stayed with us but in a new car. Maybe they got divorced, maybe they got a kid, so their mobility need changes a bit, but then we want them to be loyal to the brand. So in one sense, you could say Care by Volvo is just a big loyalty program to keep the customers with us.
Mm-hmm. And maybe let's take one sidestep to the platform economy. So you're probably not following Kassenzone because like the German block, but we are also writing a lot of stuff about platform economy. And then one of the main learnings is that in platform economy, it's not about like selling stuff anymore. It's about it's just renting out customer access. So Amazon and Google, they are not selling directly, so just they're renting their merchandise space to other vendors. Is it something you could think about that you're building a system now, the Care by Volvo principle that could be offered as like software as a service, for example, to other vendors?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think everything that is, again, software based that can scale is just perfect for us, because the car is no longer a car. The car is a computer on wheels. So that, and one of the reasons we like to choose a bit what we do and what others do, and we cannot do everything because we're quite a small company comparing to other car manufacturers still. So, for example, working with Google and the new Android system for our new cars, the XC40 battery electric as an example, that opens up a completely new possibility for us to offer things to customers within the car. And then I don't think we will be world champions of developing, consumer-friendly apps for the car necessarily. That we should definitely open up to others. And
can you elaborate here? So I think some of our listeners know like the concept of Tesla owning like everything, but what will be different then with Volvo? I know like the most recent interior design. So it's like this vertical screen, which is pretty much like industry standard. It just looks nicer. But what will be different with the Google ecosystem partner?
No, but with the XC40 then, we have a completely new infotainment system that is driven by Android. And of course then we can leverage, or the customer will be able to leverage Google Assistant, Google Maps, Google Play Store, etc., really, really integrated into the car. So sometimes if you have a TV and you go to, Samsung App Store, on your Samsung TV, you can tell that maybe Samsung, that's not their key strength to build like an app store. And then you go to your Apple TV and you see, okay, these guys actually know how to build an app store, and they have more developers, they have more of everything. And I think we feel the same thing here. Instead of building, Volvo app store, where we would maybe not get too many of the best developers building apps too, we can leverage the power of a company like Google.
Yeah. Will it be the first Google-driven car, like when it comes to the infotainment system in the market?
I think so, actually. This is not my key area of knowledge, but I know that Volvo Car Group was the first company who said we're going to do it together. Then we have a sister brand as well called Polestar, which is like an electric performance car company. And there we will also use Google Android or Google Auto.
How are the both brands connected, Polestar and Volvo?
Polestar used to be like our performance brand, so where we could do a bit faster cars with bigger motors or whatever it is. But since a few years back, Polestar is going to be the brand within Volvo Car Group that leads the way in terms of electrification. So they released a fantastic and beautiful car called Polestar 1 a year or two, I think it was ago. But it was a hybrid, a real performance car, quite pricey, but absolutely stunning. And now, very soon, Polestar 2 will hit the streets, which is then a full electric, nicely priced, I would say, or affordable car, which will be mainly sold then more on the principles of direct to consumer, still involving retailers, but not in the full classical sort of wholesale model. It's a bit different between country and country, but at least for Europe, the aim is to go directly to customers. So on their website, as an example, you would be able to lease or buy the car cash online.
And a care by Polestar, Polestar principle, is that thinkable?
Yeah, everything is thinkable. Then I think they have had a fantastic challenge of creating a new car company. So a lot of the innovation has been around the car and just putting it online to sell or lease. But that's the beauty of us having multiple brands in our company, that we can see and learn a bit and see what we can do together, where can we learn from each other, etc. There's also a third company within our sphere called Link & Co, which is yet to launch, but their ambition is definitely to build a car more as something that you would share, that you would have, not permanently. Lots of cool things happening actually.
Yeah, I'm just configuring now my Polestar car here. I didn't know about Polestar 2. I really liked the Polestar 1 design. I didn't know about Polestar 2. It seems really nice. And it's gonna be fully electrical, no hybrid.
Exactly.
Nice. Yeah. There I would be really eager to hear the Care by Polestar option, not paying 60,000 euros. Yeah.
But that's a very good guest for you next time, Thomas Ingelat, who's the CEO of Polestar. He's also German, so then you could do it in German if you would want to.
Yeah, but you have to do the introduction then. I definitely take him. Yeah, it's an interesting car. So maybe I can have a test drive with this car. So I hand over for the last questions to Lena. I didn't want to interfere because of my auto fanship here.
Your love for cars, which we actually share. It's just I'm not being as outspoken about it, perhaps as you. But Patrik, it's just a curious question. Seeing that this has been quite a journey from what I understand, what was the most surprising element of all of this? Was there an assumption that you entered into Volvo with? Because I know that you don't have a long-standing career within Volvo, actually. You joined specifically to build Care by Volvo. So I'm sure you must have had assumptions around how this market looked and how easy or not easy it would be to disrupt, and what was the biggest surprising element for you?
I think the biggest realization for us as a company, I think, is that if you take e-commerce an example, it's easy to think that e-commerce is like a function. That you say, okay, we sell cars, now we need a head of e-commerce who can do e-commerce. But when you double click at what e-commerce actually means, it's so multifunctional, right? You need your marketing, you need your operational processes, your logistics, you need, to keep your numbers in track, you need a back end. So I think that's the biggest thing to explain, that e-commerce is not just putting up a web page and voila, everyone comes there. It's really building a business rather, where a lot of things are the same as they have been before, but quite often there are a few tweaks that you need to make that can make life quite different. So I think that has been the biggest part, actually trying to explain what is e-commerce, and then doing that at the same time as you try to introduce a new business model, which is direct versus wholesale, at the same time as you introduce a new customer offering, which is subscription and not buying. The totality of those three, and how long it actually takes to build something up that is scalable, that is robust, flexible, etc. That has been the key thing. And in the midst of all that, not getting stuck in just talking about why we should do things, how we should do things, who should do things, but also then remembering what the heck are we trying to do for the customer here. To not fall in love with your own internal slogans, basically, but really, are we solving a problem for a customer, or are we making up a problem that we think sounds cool to solve, basically?
Cool. I really liked what you said, A, about the customer, and B, about the perspective of Care by Volvo. I'm not 100% convinced about the leasing comparison, because there are some pricing websites in Germany where I can have a 2-year leasing for a low price, but I will definitely look more into it. And maybe that's also an idea how to show prices on Care by Volvo. To make them more comparable with leasing, because if you exclude then what you said, insurance, taxes, and all this stuff, then it's a really competitive price eventually. I will definitely deep dive into the Polestar 2 option. So that's a really nice car coming off. I haven't seen actually a Polestar in Germany so far. So is it sold here too? Is it a popular car already? A Polestar?
No, I don't think it has hit the streets yet. Orders are being taken. I am not 100% sure when the first deliveries are coming.
Not even the Polestar 1?
Yeah, the Polestar 1 has of course been out, but that was a limited series car. The price was, maybe not for the mass market, but it's a really beautiful car. And the Polestar 2 as well. It's cool actually. It's cool.
Yeah, I like it. Now I need to convince my wife. Yeah, and we have to convince convince the Polestar CEO to offer care by Polestar principle, so I can afford it. Yeah, so, and they can use your platform. That's nice. So if I would go now to like the average retailer in my region, asking about how's your how do you look in the future of this brand? So compared to maybe other car brands, so. Will he give me the answer? He's looking into a bright future, so it's good somehow, or is he a little bit like concerned what's in for him in the next years?
I mean, Volvo has had a fantastic growth story, of course, over the last couple of years, where we have outgrown most of our competitors. That has, of course, been very beneficial also for our retailers. But then where we stand today is, what will digitalization or the migration to online mean? What will electrification mean when there are less moving parts in the car and then it's less maintenance? What will that mean for the service business? Corona, what will happen there? So I think that there's a lot of question marks out there, basically. And if I was a retailer, I would maybe not be so worried about only what Volvo is doing online, but what our third parties doing online. I mean, it's still in e-commerce. You can buy your shoe at Nike, or you could buy it at a physical only retailer trying to go online, or you could buy it at an online only retailer or a marketplace. For cars, that is still quite far away. Or rather, it's not there, but I don't think it is far away if you look at the speed at which things are happening. So, and if you run a successful retail operation, it will be a bit hard for you to put something up online that is, a good enough customer experience, but then also more importantly, having the muscle to actually drive meaningful traffic and operate that. And of course, in our online channel, how do we treat customers that are actually looking between brands? How we will never be, at least that's my strong opinion, be a price leader in our own channel. So you will always get a Nike shoe that was not on sale. You will probably get that at the cheap price at maybe Zalando or something, but your own channel you want to protect a bit. So for us and our retailers is really about, I think, how do we create a meaningful position in a market where competition is just starting, where multi-brand will be something, of course, happening, and where price transparency online will be the new normal. So I would assume that retailers actually, many of them probably have a fantastic idea of exactly what they're going to do, and it will be bright. But I would assume that quite many are in the eye of the storm, sort of. Everything has not started to happen, but it's right around the corner.
What a nice way to summarize the challenges of your business in the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic, it's such a complex industry with so many ifs and buts and strings tied to this and that. But at the end of the day, just like we talked about the beautiful cars and everything, it's fantastic to work with something as exciting as cars, basically. It's a beautiful product. It's something you can relate to. It's something you use. But it's also something where you can be annoyed about 1 million things and wonder, how the heck can we not do this in a better way?
Cool. I think that is better summary than Lena or I could have given. Thank you for your time on the Wimlex show. I'm pretty sure we will create a lot of feedback. I will definitely follow the story of Care by Volvo, and I will definitely compare it to the prices of the leasing industry I've seen so far. I sent you some links afterwards, and maybe we can do a follow up with Polestars. That would be great. So yes. Thank you, Patrik.
Thank you, and the Care by Volvo sales team will contact you shortly. So.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining, Patrik. I'm really happy we're able to find the time now, finally. Really exciting story. Thanks a lot.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. The next episode is about Rose Bikes and their IT department. So Rose Bike is one of the leading manufacturers of a bike in Europe, if not even worldwide. And they managed to transition to from a monolithic system to a Spryker agile infrastructure. He's talking with my Chief Customer Officer, Chris Rausch, from UK. So another interesting episode, a little bit more specialized on tech.